This story is about a 20-year-old young woman, Nina, who mysteriously told her family she had to leave the country and that she loved them and she would write as soon as she could, which was totally unlike her and shocked her friends and family, especially when she was never seen again. The whole thing started in August in Dallas, Texas. Nina had just gotten her first apartment. It was not expensive, but she was pretty proud of it. It was nice. She was looking forward to inviting her parents and brothers over to eat and play board games at her place. Nina had only been in the apartment a few days when she saw Mrs. Carver, her elderly neighbor. Nina first saw her struggling to carry a bag of soil into her apartment, and Nina jumped out there to help. She ran out all smiling and helped the older lady carry quite a few bags from her car to the house. Mrs. Carver thought that was really cool and was super thankful for the assistance. On the last trip, Nina was waiting outside the door for Miss Carver and wasn't sure if she was already inside or what. So she peeks her head in the apartment and was immediately taken aback by the sheer amount of stuff. The place was packed from floor to ceiling with junk mostly. Miss Carver was a huge pack rat. Nina, for whatever reason, stepped into the apartment calling Miss Carver's name, and between all the stacks of trash and junk is things like strange little sculptures and random handmade jewelry that looked expensive. This place was crazy. And this apartment was a lot bigger than her place too. How are these even in the same complex? Nina felt a strange pull toward the bedroom. Without even thinking, she walked in, and her eye instantly locked on a mirror. It was the most beautiful thing she'd ever seen. The glass was pristine, reflecting the room with eerie clarity. She took a step closer, unable to look away from her reflection. Everything starts to blur around the mirror. Nina thinks she's having a head rush or a flashback or something. She hears a buzzing, and her vision starts micro-jittering. The reflection in the mirror, it looked like her, but it was somebody else. Another girl her age, who looked sad. Actually, she looked furious. Nina tried to move, but she was paralyzed. The buzzing was getting really loud now. She felt herself being pulled towards the mirror, her eyes locked with the angry girl. Then suddenly, Mrs. Carver grabs her and pulls her away from the mirror. Nina was stunned and confused, but she returned to her much smaller apartment, her mind trying to make sense of what just happened. Was she crazy? Whatever it was, she kind of liked it. Anyway, over the next few weeks, Nina was busy doing young adult things, working her job, going to community college, talking to guys. But she could not stop thinking about the mirror and that girl. Who was she? Was it a dream? She couldn't concentrate on anything else. That image just kept running through her mind. So when Mrs. Carver invited her over for dinner, Nina accepted eagerly. This was her chance to see the mirror again. When she got there, though, she was surprised to find the apartment clean and normal. All the junk was gone. The place looked boring. They ate together and it was great. Mrs. Carver was a really good cook, and she seemed to have a million stories about extravagant places around the world. Pretty soon, Nina felt totally relaxed and comfortable. So she asks about the mirror. Mrs. Carver said it's an optical illusion, a piece of art I got a long time ago. You want to go see it again? Nina hesitated. Her better judgment was saying no, but her curiosity was way too strong. Yes, she whispered. They walked down the hall to the bedroom, and when Nina stepped inside, the mirror was waiting for her, tall and foreboding. Nina's heart instantly starts pounding. Again she hears the buzz, and her whole body lights up. Then she sees the girl, and their eyes lock. And in that moment, Nina knew she had made a big mistake. The buzzing engulfed her. Then there was a loud, cracking noise that shook her to her core. Everything went pitch black, and she was sure she was dead. Until she opened her eyes and saw herself and Mrs. Carver standing in the bedroom. But that wasn't her. Then Mrs. Carver and Nina's stolen body wrapped the mirror in a cloth and carried it out to Nina's car. See, Mrs. Carver used her magic mirror to trap young women's souls, so she could steal their youth and live practically immortally. She had been pulling this trick on women since ancient Egypt times. She had lived so many amazing lives. She knew the first thing to do was sever ties with her victims' families. So in the parking lot that same night, Mrs. Carver called Nina's family to tell them she was leaving the country, fabricating a story that would give her time to set herself up financially, using the wealth she had accumulated over the centuries. Meanwhile, Nina was trapped forever inside the mirror, having to watch herself getting older each time Mrs. Carver looked at the mirror, doomed to wait there in silence until Mrs. Carver claimed her next victim. You have just experienced a human and AI collaboration. AI came up with the idea for a magic mirror story. The human wrote it, and then AI did pretty much everything else. If you enjoyed it, like and subscribe. Until next time.